Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you are joining. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Hayley and I review fragrances. So in today's video, I am going to be talking all about the newest additions to my collection, and I have a variety for you. I'm super excited to talk you through these fragrances. So if that's your kind of thing, then please do keep on watching. But before we get started on the content, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It really helps my channel out, and I would love to have you as part of this amazing fragrance community. So now that's out of the way, let's jump in to the first fragrance. So first up is Nota Loca, and I am so excited to have this one in my collection. This is such an incredible summer fragrance. This is coconut, or shall I say coconut milk. It's got mango, it's got a papaya note, there's also acai berry, there's vanilla, there's tonka bean. It is just delicious. Really enjoying this fragrance. It's still very new to my collection, but I just think it is so fun, so summery, and just so juicy. I'm absolutely addicted to this smell. You definitely get a big burst of fruits. They're not sour, they're not overly sweet. It's very tropical, and it's a little bit musky. It's smooth too. So sometimes I find with mango fragrances, they can be quite tart, whereas this has a really smooth quality to it. It's almost like coconut cream or coconut milk. There's no sunscreen vibe in here at all. The yuzu gives a slight juiciness in the opening and almost a slightly bitter touch, which I really appreciate. It cuts through some of those tropical fruits. I don't get a lot of the vanilla and the tonka bean. It's just there to add a nice bit of a backbone in the dry down. Now, one thing I will say is the longevity isn't the best on this fragrance, but I love the scent profile so much that doesn't bother me. I am one of those people that don't really care about the longevity of the fragrance. If I at least get 5 hours wear, I'm okay with that. I will put a decant in my bag if I want it to last all day, but I know we're all different. So if longevity is something that bothers you, definitely sample this one first, because it doesn't last all day, at least on my skin anyway. But I think this one is just incredible. Definitely one of my favorite fruity summer fragrances in my collection now. And yeah, I'm so excited to have this one in my collection. Have you tried this one? If so, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. And also, if you have tried this one, what is the longevity like on you? Juicy summer fragrance. I will review it in more detail to come because I haven't had it that long, but my first impressions of this are so good. So yeah, the first fragrance was Nota Loca. Next up is Ledda 22 Orris. Now, I know I am totally late to the game on this one, but I have a good reason. I wasn't able to get this in the UK, and finally, you can get Ledda fragrances if you live in the UK, just to let you know. So I currently have this one and also the vanilla fragrance, and I have a sample of the newest one, but I wanted to include 22 Orris in today's video because this is the one that is standing out the most to me right now. Don't get me wrong, I think the vanilla fragrance is phenomenal, but it's a scent profile that I wouldn't wear much in the summer. So stay tuned, I will review that one in the future. But I am really loving 22 Orris. Now, one thing I will say is I don't get much Orris in this fragrance, and that is not a bad thing, but the name is 22 Orris, so I was expecting to get, I guess, an overload of Orris. And for me, that note normally pulls a little bit earthy, quite musky, and it's a note that I really enjoy. But this is a little bit more fun and playful. It's definitely quite floral. It's sweet too. There's a marshmallow note in here. Absolutely incredible. Very fun and sweet. But I will say I'm not getting a lot of the Orris, and I think other people agree on that. I have seen some reviews of this, although I haven't seen anyone review it recently, so I can't quite remember. But this is definitely such a great feminine, Easy fragrance to wear, would make a great signature scent. Longevity is average, so I get about medium wear from it. The dry down, I get a lot of that musk and the oak moss, and the sweetness starts to dissipate a little bit when it dries down on the skin. It's quite sweet in the opening, but I'm mostly getting light white florals, think jasmine and lily of the valley. I am getting a fluffy, sweet marshmallow note. There's pear leaf in here, also a little bit of pink pepper up top and some freesia, but I am getting a lot of that musk in the dry down. So really, really enjoying this fragrance. I can't wait to review the brand now that you can purchase it in the UK. I know many of you live in the US, so I'm sure many of you have tried this brand already. But if you have tried Ledda fragrances, please let me know which is your favorite one in the comments down below. But I'm really, really enjoying 22 Orris right now. Next up is the newest release from Akro, and this one is called Glow. This bottle is incredibly shiny. Now, Akro have released quite a few fragrances recently. They just released Smile, and before that they released Infuse. Now, I believe Glow is a Harrods exclusive. I will pop the launch date on the screen. I'm not sure if it's out yet or not. This was sent to me in PR. But if you love fragrances similar to MFK's Grand Soir, you will likely love this. It's almost quite a simple profile, but it's really, really good. Now, this is an overdose of amber, vanilla, and incense with a little bit of pink pepper. And this is a fragrance profile that I absolutely adore. Now, I do feel like this type of fragrance is better in the autumn and the winter, or in cooler weather, so maybe in the evenings in the spring and the summer too, but we're all different on that. But for me, this is a very rich, almost a little bit powdery amber fragrance with some sweetness from the vanilla. You then get this slightly smoky incense note. Now, I've seen on Fragrantica people have compared this to By the Fireplace by Replica. This is nowhere near as smoky to my nose as By the Fireplace. It has a slight smokiness from the incense, but it's not burning woods. So I personally wouldn't compare it to By the Fireplace. I think it's more similar to Grand Soir with an incense note. But this is an incredible fragrance, actually one of my favorite Akro fragrances now. I think Awake will always be my favorite Akro fragrance, but this might be a close second. This, like I said, is one that I won't really wear much in the summertime, but expect me to be wearing this more in the cooler weather. First impressions, really, really good of this fragrance. I do believe it's a Harrods exclusive though, so bear that in mind, but Harrods do ship internationally. Well, my words wouldn't come out then. So yeah, let me know what you think about this new release from Akro. Is this one that you want to sample? Do you like the sound of the notes? Please do let me know down in the comments below. Next up is Sapphire Blue by the House of Oud. Now, I am starting to get a little collection going from the House of Oud. I think this is my 5th or my 6th fragrance from the brand, and this one has really taken me by surprise, because I saw the notes online and I didn't know what to expect with it, but wow, this is a really addictive fragrance and very, very unique in my collection. I do get a big blast of almond in the opening, but it also has a slight green touch to it, like an earthiness, slightly natural, but then there's florals and there's also like a vanilla-y, ambery, musky base. Maybe not amber, but it's also a little bit spicy. Oh, I think this one is absolutely incredible. Very, very underrated, my opinion, but it's not necessarily one of the more mass appealing scent profiles from the brand. But I think this is incredible. The mixture of the almond with the spices, and then you got the florals, the musk, the vanilla. There's some cardamom in here too. How would I categorize this fragrance? I don't know. I think it's actually quite sexy, but in a different type of way. But yeah, it's really, really beautiful. You have an orchid note too. I need to play around with this one a little bit more. This is new. I've only worn it once. It has medium longevity, but from the House of Oud, this is definitely in my top 2, maybe my top 3 from the brand. Like I said, I do need to play around with it a little bit more and get a real feel from what I'm getting from it, because I can't quite place it similar to anything else in my collection at this stage. But it's one I'm definitely really, really enjoying, and I'm just a sucker for these bottles. So again, have you tried Sapphire Blue from the House of Oud? Please do let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think about this one if you have tried it. I have Ruby Red, which is another favorite, and what else would I say is my favorite? I don't know. I can't pick at this stage. I want to do a house overview of the brand as well, but I need to get some samples. They have a lot of different fragrances and they are very varied in scent profile. I don't necessarily feel like the brand has a signature DNA or scent profile. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but if you would like a house overview from this brand, please do let me know. Next up is a new fragrance from Tiziana Terenzi, and this one is called Oud Tarazed, I believe, and it's another Harrods exclusive. This is one of the best oud fragrances in my collection. It is, to me, a caramel oud, but it's complex. It's a little bit spicy. There's saffron in here. There's an ebony note, which is absolutely incredible. But the main vibe that I'm getting is caramel oud. Oh, I can't get the lid off. This is definitely unisex, and it's a real statement getter. Oh, I think this one is just incredible. I am also getting leather and incense. Oh, I think this one is really, really good. I slightly get a little bit of YSL Baby Cat in the background, probably from the saffron and the benzoin. But then it's very complex with the oud, the caramel, there's spices throughout, you're getting the saffron. But it's a sweet oud. Very, very head turning, as I've said, and it's another one that is really difficult to describe, but I almost feel like it's more of a formal fragrance, or definitely an autumn winter fragrance. I feel like so many of you will like this fragrance if you are a fan of oud fragrances with sweetness, with a little bit of spice and also that caramel. But again, this is really new to my collection, and I'm sorry I'm not giving you in-depth reviews. I do want to give you my first thoughts on these new fragrances in my collection. But I don't typically wear a lot of oud fragrances. It's not necessarily the genre that I reach for, probably because I do get migraines and oud is a strong note. But this one, it's a big favorite of mine, and as I already mentioned, one of my favorite ouds in my collection now, and it really did take me by surprise, so I'm very impressed with this one. Let me know what you think about the notes. I will pop them on the screen because I do feel like it has quite a unique note breakdown, but this is definitely now one of my favorite fragrances from Tiziana Terenzi. Such a great new release, but it is a Harrods exclusive. Next up is the newest fragrance from Matiere Premiere, and this is Crystal Saffron Extrait. Matiere Premiere reached out and asked if I wanted to try this one, and of course I said yes, because there's so many fragrances I love from this brand. Can we take a moment for this packaging, because the black bottle is everything. Now, I am one of those people that when I smell saffron, it often smells quite rubbery. It can pull a little bit like burnt tires. Some people pick up a kind of band-aid smell from the note of saffron. You might not, but I am one of those people that do pick out saffron sometimes like that. So the original Crystal Saffron wasn't really for me. It was a very airy, almost rubbery saffron to my nose. You might not experience that, so I just want to say that here. And Crystal Saffron Extrait still has that slightly rubbery feel to my nose. Not quite burnt tires, but a little bit like latex. But I enjoy it a lot more in the Extrait version. It's almost really addictive. I don't know how to explain that. But you're getting musk and you're getting incense too, and there's a little bit more sweetness. It's not as airy. So the original almost had this slightly chemical feel about it, probably a lot of ambroxan, but this is a little bit more dense and I'm enjoying it a lot more. My husband doesn't care for this one. Since I have mentioned that saffron smells rubbery to me, that is how he also perceives the note. And any fragrance with a heavy saffron note, he's kind of not into it. So he used to like Ensemble Suave by Matiere Premier too, until I mentioned that it kind of smells a little bit rubbery to me, and I've put that in his head. I feel really bad about it. But I like this. I don't love this, but if you like saffron as a note, you might absolutely love this. But I will say there is something really addictive about it. It's a little bit more dense than the original, as I've mentioned. It's a little bit sweeter, and you're getting more of that incense too. So I need to play around with it a little bit more. I've not worn this for a full day on my skin yet, so this is still very much a first impressions, but I wanted to give you my opinion on it just in case you were interested in this fragrance. But let me know what you feel about saffron as a note. That's one thing that I want to know. And also let me know if you have sampled the original Crystal Saffron, and if so, what do you think about it? But let me know if you want a more in-depth review on this one. I'll be happy to do so. But yeah, this is the last fragrance that I am going to be showcasing in today's video. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much, and goodbye.